People who grow apart from family and friends as they age almost always display these 10 behaviors. There's quite a bit of truth in the saying, change is the only constant in life. As we age, it's natural for relationships to shift and evolve. Sometimes, this even means growing apart from family and friends, which can be a bittersweet part of personal growth. But this doesn't happen without warning signs. Those who grow apart from loved ones often exhibit certain behaviors that hint at their gradual distancing. In this video, we'll explore the top 10 behaviors exhibited by people who tend to grow apart from their family and friends as they age. It's not about blaming or shaming, but understanding these changes better. Let's get started. 1. Increasing self-reliance. There's a natural human tendency to lean on our loved ones for support and companionship. But as we age, some people seem to outgrow this innate need. They start showing a marked increase in their self-reliance. This is not about becoming a hermit or shunning help from others. Rather, it's about realizing that they can handle things on their own and not needing to depend on others as much as they used to. An increased self-reliance could manifest in different ways, from taking up solo hobbies to preferring to spend time alone, or even making major life decisions without seeking advice from family or friends. This shift towards self-sufficiency may seem like a healthy sign of maturity at first glance. However, it can also be the first step towards growing apart from loved ones. It's important to note that while self-reliance is generally a good trait, extreme cases can lead to isolation and loneliness, which are known factors contributing to mental health issues. 2. Drifting conversations. I've noticed a personal trend that seems to be common among those who slowly drift away from family and friends. Let me share an example. I had a close friend, let's call her Jane. We used to chat about everything under the sun, sharing our deepest fears and biggest dreams. But as the years passed, I noticed a shift. Our conversations started changing. They became more superficial, more often about the weather than our lives. I found that Jane was less inclined to share personal details and more inclined to keep things light and impersonal. This change was subtle, but noticeable. It was as if Jane was slowly pulling away, creating a conversational distance that mirrored the physical distance growing between us. Looking back, it's clear that this drifting conversation was one of the early signs that we were growing apart. It's a behavior I've noticed in other relationships too, where deep connections gradually transition into polite acquaintanceships. This is not to say that every drifting conversation signals a dying relationship, but it's worth paying attention to, especially when it becomes a consistent pattern. 3. Changing social preferences. As we age, our social preferences often change. What once appealed to us in our youth might not hold the same charm in our later years. A study conducted by Laura Carstensen of Stanford University found that as people age, they tend to interact with fewer people. They prefer to spend their time with a select few individuals who are truly meaningful to them, rather than maintaining a large social circle. This behavior could be misinterpreted as becoming antisocial or disinterested. However, it's more about quality over quantity. People who grow apart from family and friends may choose to invest their time and energy into fewer but more significant relationships. This change in social preference can be an indicator of the potential for growing apart from others. It's critical to understand that this isn't inherently negative. It's simply a shift in focus that aligns with one's evolving priorities and maturing perspectives. 4. Reduced emotional sharing. Emotional sharing is a cornerstone of any deep relationship. It builds trust, fosters empathy, and strengthens bonds. However, people who tend to grow apart from loved ones often display a decrease in emotional sharing. They might seem more reserved, less open about their feelings, or even appear indifferent. This doesn't mean they've become cold-hearted or uncaring. Rather, they might be consciously or unconsciously creating emotional distance as they grow apart. One reason for this could be self-protection. By limiting emotional sharing, they reduce the risk of getting hurt or disappointed. Another reason could be a shift in personal values and priorities. They might prefer to process their emotions privately or find more fulfillment in introspection. Regardless of the reasons, reduced emotional sharing can signal a widening gap in relationships. Recognizing this behavior can help us understand and navigate these evolving dynamics better. 5. Less enthusiasm for joint activities. Shared activities and experiences are often the glue that binds people together. They create lasting memories and strengthen our connection with each other. But what happens when enthusiasm for these shared activities starts to wane? People who grow apart from family and friends often show less interest in participating in joint activities. Where they once eagerly planned family outings or friend gatherings, they now seem indifferent or even hesitant. This change can be subtle at first. A declined invitation here, a lack of enthusiasm there. Over time, however, this pattern becomes more pronounced. This behavior could stem from a variety of factors, from changing interests and priorities to a desire for more personal space and independence. While it's normal for interests to change over time, a consistent lack of enthusiasm for shared activities can be a sign of growing apart. It's a shift that warrants attention and understanding from both ends. 6. Increased value on independence. Independence is a beautiful thing. It allows us to stand on our own 2 feet, make our own decisions, and carve our own path in life. As we age, independence often becomes more valuable. We take pride in our ability to navigate life's challenges on our own. This sense of self-sufficiency can be empowering and fulfilling. However, when it comes to relationships, this heightened value on independence can lead to a gradual distancing. Let me explain why. Relationships are built on interdependence, a delicate balance between maintaining one's autonomy and relying on others. When the scale tips too much towards independence, that balance is disrupted. People who grow apart from their loved ones often start valuing their independence more than the shared dependence that keeps relationships thriving. They may start making decisions without seeking advice, spending more time alone, or avoiding situations that require compromise or collaboration. This isn't about becoming selfish or aloof. It's simply about cherishing one's individuality and freedom more than before. While independence is a wonderful trait to nurture, it's crucial to remember that we humans are social beings who thrive on connection and mutual support. Balancing independence with interdependence is key to maintaining healthy relationships as we age. 7. Prioritizing self-growth. I remember a phase in my life where my personal growth became my primary focus. I was determined to better myself, investing time and effort into self-improvement. During this time, I found myself reading more books, attending workshops, and pursuing interests that were solely for my betterment. While it was an enriching period, it also meant less time for family gatherings and hangouts with friends. People who grow apart from family and friends often prioritize their self-growth. They invest in their personal development, which might mean less time and energy for maintaining relationships. This doesn't mean they value their loved ones any less. Quite the contrary, they might be doing this to become a better person for themselves and the people around them. However, this shift of focus can lead to a sense of growing apart, especially if not communicated effectively. It's important to strike a balance between personal growth and nurturing relationships. After all, growing as an individual and growing with our loved ones are not mutually exclusive. 8. Greater tolerance for solitude. Solitude often gets a bad rap. It's associated with loneliness, isolation, and even sadness. But the truth is, solitude can be incredibly liberating and fulfilling. As we age, many of us develop a greater tolerance for solitude. We start to enjoy our own company, finding peace and contentment in our quiet moments. People who tend to grow apart from family and friends often exhibit this behavior. They might prefer spending time alone over social gatherings or choose solo activities over group outings. Now, you might think that enjoying solitude means pushing people away. Not necessarily. Learning to appreciate solitude is about finding comfort in your own presence. It's about understanding yourself better and fostering a healthy relationship with your own self. However, it's important to remember that humans are inherently social creatures. While solitude can be therapeutic, we also need meaningful connections with others to thrive emotionally and mentally. So, if you find yourself developing a greater tolerance for solitude, it's okay. Just make sure it doesn't come at the cost of your relationships. 9. Shifting life goals. Life goals are not set in stone. They evolve with us, reflecting our changing priorities, values, and aspirations. As we age, our life goals can shift dramatically. What once seemed important may lose its significance, and new priorities may take center stage. People who grow apart from family and friends often exhibit a shift in their life goals. They might prioritize career advancement over social commitments or choose self-discovery over maintaining familial traditions. This shift in life goals can impact their relationships. Family and friends who are not part of these new goals might feel left out or less important. However, it's important to remember that shifting life goals is a natural part of personal growth. It's not about disregarding others, but about aligning one's life with one's evolving self. Navigating these changes can be challenging for both the individual and their loved ones. Open communication, understanding, and flexibility can go a long way in managing these shifts without growing apart. 10. Fading shared memories. Shared memories are the invisible threads that connect us to our loved ones. They are the stories we revisit, the moments we cherish, the experiences that define our relationships. However, people who grow apart from family and friends often exhibit a fading interest in these shared memories. They might show less enthusiasm in reminiscing about the past or seem indifferent to experiences that once held significant meaning. While it's healthy and necessary to live in the present and look forward to the future, shared memories hold immense power in maintaining our connections with others. They remind us of our roots, of time spent together, and of bonds formed over years. So, if you find yourself or a loved one showing less interest in shared memories, it might be a sign of growing apart. But remember, it's never too late to reconnect and create new memories together. The power to nurture our relationships always lies within us. Which one of the points above resonated the most today? Also, if you haven't done so yet, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to receive new videos like this in your inbox every day.